Dear Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset I would really like to express my gratitude to President Ivanov, to ICD and to ICAC for inviting me to participate in such a really prominent forum. Yesterday evening we had a great dinner, and that was just a preparation. We spent great time together, and that was preparation for the first panel for me, because that was really something extraordinary that I thought. Not often we have such a relaxed atmosphere, such different stories, but connected with the same aim, and the end of that was just a culmination of everything. So, but today I would like to shift focus a little bit to the struggle between national interests and the global responsibilities of the countries, which lays actually context for cultural diplomacy, how the cultural diplomacy fits there. So it is always challenging to discuss the global topics. Global developments or global responsibilities versus national topics, developments or responsibilities. It is complicated. The world we know is a fertile soil for the development of multilateralism. After the World War II, international organizations are blooming and spreading worldwide. Nations are joining the hope for better security, welfare, or respect for human rights. The United Nations are an example of a global international organization whose goals are attractive for every country in the world, and as such, the membership status offers validation or sort of credentials to the states for the participation in international community. In 2005, the World UN Summit echoed, each individual state has the responsibility to protect its population from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. We, the members, have accepted that responsibility and promised to act in accordance with it. We actually pledged to act in accordance with it. As a part of international community, we should together, as appropriate, encourage and help states to exercise their responsibility and support the United Nations in establishing an early warning capability. The international community, through the United Nations, as a prime example of deep international solidarity, also took the responsibility to use appropriate diplomatic, humanitarian, and other peaceful means in accordance with Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of the Charter to help protect populations from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. In this context, we all know well that the UN is prepared to take collective action in a timely and decisive manner through the Security Council in accordance with the Charter, including Chapter 7, on a case-by-case basis and in cooperation with relevant regional organizations as appropriate. Should peaceful means be inadequate, national authorities manifestly fail to protect their populations from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. Yes, you heard right. In cooperation with relevant regional organizations. The present US system is too bulky. Some would criticize not yet reformed properly. That is practically impossible to deal effectively with many regional issues. Also, different corners of the world are on different level of economics, social or cultural level, which disables possible one-size-fits-all strategies. While there are states and regions where, unfortunately, the main strategy is still the physical survival of its people and eradication of hunger, other states, through regional organizations like European Council, for example, already for decades work hard and in a sophisticated manner to improve the situation with human rights in their member states, raising the domestic standards in many fields. Maybe some critics would say slowly. Some would rightly criticize that not all the member states always respect the Council's decision, but it's definitely surely. The problem grows when equalization of the mentioned standards diverse interests, or even different views on heading towards the common universally good often cause tensions in a large number of member states between their pure national interests and their collective interests. It may be a result of diplomatic pressure or even the leader's wish, which can cause him or her to focus on global responsibility. This certainly is a point where every nation should think twice about what way they choose, as rightly mentioned Madam Linda. The problem lies in building a nexus between different sets of interests to find reasons for sacrificing national self-interests for the common universal good. In this case, responsibility to protect becomes supplemented by the ideas of international solidarity and good international citizenship. NATO is a good example of regional cooperation where the aim, defending freedom and democracy, is so strong and difficult to question that besides small and marginalized groups, the main political actors by their role support the aims of North Atlantic Treaty organizations, relentlessly building joint forces and strategies, thus permanently reinforcing the Euro-Atlantic connection. NATO is attractive, and there is a number of countries that still seek membership in the alliance as a solid promise for peace, despite the geographical limitations in some cases, given in the Washington Treaty, which indeed opens another debate: where are true borders of Europe? European Union is the most successful political and economic bloc and peace project. Yet United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland decided to leave it, yielded under inside political pressure. As you remember, the majority of population in 2016 voted 52 to 48 in favor of what they saw as a national interest compared to increasing solidarity with the EU, especially the migrant issues. On the other side, European Union is still a magnet for prospective members. The enlargement process is rather slow and ineffective, though. It is very visible in the context of long-term candidates that are still hanging in the air, partly because of big and growing skepticism on EU enlargement within the member states, which resulted in poor enlargement procedures and processes and requested need for inner reforms. Also, let's be honest, partly also because of poor delivery and slow reforms by the candidate states that cannot cope with growing demands. As a Macedonian citizen, I would remind that we are actually a great case of this big drama, to sacrifice or not to sacrifice substantial national interest in favor of great good. This is happening here and now, with the government pushing constitutional changes, which became precondition to start negotiation the chapters, and 80% of the population which does not want it under the proposed conditions that, according to them, undermine ethnic identity and sovereignty of Macedonian people. Take it or leave it quickly versus slow down and negotiate according to national interest. This is the situation now. And in the interest of time, I will stop here, hoping that we will incite fruitful discussion on balancing these multilateral responsibilities and national interests in various perspectives. Thank you very much for your attention.